Lunch break.
Welcome to lunch break, everybody.
Yeah.
Grab the drink. Grab
You got the
snack.
Red Bull
I'm still
on.
pushing Red Bull. You can sponsor us. We're waiting.
Oh,
We are
Justin,
waiting.
that was smooth. We're waiting.
We're waiting. The inbox is open.
So if you're out there, we're glad you're here today. Like us, share us. We're getting close, Justin. Have you seen to the 650 mark?
Yes, we're creeping. You guys
Yes.
can help us by pushing that right now. Like,
Please.
share. We got a lot going on. And
Lots
we
going
wanted
on.
to talk about last week. We tried a whole
Yes.
thing for the first
Brand
time.
new.
We had some technical issues.
So we're going to let them speak for themselves.
Yes, go ahead. Tech team wanted to share some stuff with you.
Oh, what's up?
Hi.
We got this so that we can share with you guys.
We're putting them on the spot.
Yeah.
Clearly, we don't talk in front of cameras very often because we're tech
I
guys.
do.
So, well,
You both do. You guys are awesome.
so basically, we had tried a bunch of new stuff, but obviously, as you can tell, we
sick.
we very much
figured it out.
improved. Look at what you're looking at. I mean, I'm looking at it right here. It looks super cool, and it looks like we got all new audio cables and all new cables that were broken.
Yep.
So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
So
And Seth wanted to throw me under the bus on the whole thing.
The
and I
whole thing
told
was
him,
Mike's fault.
It's my fault. That's
Whole
perfectly
thing.
fine.
there we go.
His fault.
We
It's
will
your
blame
order.
Mike. I
You ever
agree.
read it? Read the book.
Well, if Justin, he's on vacation, we're glad you came in today, Justin.
Yes,
Because they
there's
could
no
have
such
just
thing as
easily blamed it all on you.
Yes, very much. That's why I come. I know how we treat Seth on his vacation, so I'm not going to just playing. But they come through amazingly.
They do.
Look at the difference between the split screen from last week and today.
Yeah.
And today is amazing.
We tried a lot of new
Talented
things
men
last
over
week
there.
on our 50th show, so it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
You know, the good thing is we just, and I think this is life, guys, isn't it, Johnell? It's like you don't try to hide the problems that you have in life.
That's what it's all about, being transparent. So when we're gonna walk through this with you guys as we do the show, and we have a great one planned.
Yes,
today.
we do.
Great friend of both of ours
Yes,
here today.
we have a repeat guest,
Right.
and Johnell was on about.
Hey, is this a record? Is this the first?
This is
two-timer?
the first
one?
two-timer.
Let's
That is
go.
not true.
Oh.
That is not true. Adrian was the first.
Two-timer?
No.
Adrian was.
You know what?
I think you guys are going to have a hard time doing what's new with Johnell, though.
Oh no, I don't.
Nah, we
No,
got that.
we got to know what to do.
think
Well,
we
I will tell you that Scott Winkler was a guest and then a co-host.
Oh,
So that
yeah,
was
you'll
kind
probably end up doing
yeah,
it one time.
yeah. John will probably be a co-host here. So we're glad to have John L here today. But our show's different today because we had Peter 2 weeks ago. We talked about his African ministry. Today we're back with John L to talk about Kickstarter Kids.
Yes.
And he is the founder and the president, and got a lot of cool things going on. So I think we have a video that we just want to roll for you just to kind of introduce our audience to Kickstarter Kids. So just tune in and watch this video.
Hey guys, Johnell here for Kickstarter Kids. It might be just a shoot to some, but it's more to us. This show is a gateway, empowering them to see that they can create opportunity, that they are great. And this is the recap for the 4th annual sneaker giveaway.
Yeah.
I used to be hopeless. I used to not think like I will amount to anything. And to this day, sometimes I gotta battle that right now, like that I don't matter. I made a whole lot of horrible mistakes. When I tell you what I'm about to tell you right now, you are made in the Creator's image. You are made to do great things. You are made to impact every space that you go into. But I want to tell you guys that you are responsible for what comes behind you. That your situation right now doesn't dictate where you're going to end up. I prayed over every single box. That is not, you guys might have just came for a shoe. I want to tell you guys that you're going to leave here knowing that you have a purpose. The crazy thing about a purpose is you gotta choose it. It's already in you. Everything that you're going through and will go through, you're equipped to handle it. He won't give you anything more. I tell my young athletes that I used to coach that in each one of us, there's an older person counting on us to make the right decisions right now. But for the life you want, you gotta go after it.
How incredible. I'm a shoe guy, and I think you guys are both. I know how it is when you open that new box, that fresh open, and you got the tissue paper on top of it.
Yeah.
What an experience. You see the smile on those kids' face.
That's what I think is special about Kicks for Kids, because it's a lot of, almost 95% of them, they don't often get that new shoe feel. They don't get that.
No.
Even when they get shoes, they're hand-me-downs sometimes. Not all of them, but for the most part, most of them, they don't get a brand new shoe like that, not a name brand. So when they get it, it sounds materialistic, it sounds fake, but their lives change the moment they get handed that free thing that they thought they could never touch. It's crazy to be a part of. It's one of my favorite ministries going. 100%.
I love it. So we did something last week with our 50th episode, and we didn't answer an audience question from 2 weeks ago. We had Adrian Monet on, and there was a question that came from the audience from Adrian's show. And what happened was Adrian recognizes that he has a lot of energy even now. We all know Adrian. Adrian, congratulations, because Adrian finished his 12-hour time challenge race last week and did it, I think, in 15 minutes to spare, which was a huge thing. So congratulations to Adrian. And Adrian's mom recognized.
He rode around the world or something.
12 hours straight. 12 hours
I saw how long that blew my mind.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to have Adrian back on the show to talk about his training. I talked to him about having Kerry Ryan on the show with him.
That's awesome.
Just to talk about the training and things that go in there. But I think Adrian's personality was kind of developed when he was young, because his mom recognized that he had this kind of more energy or hyper energy, which we probably nowadays say is ADHD or something like that. And his mom recognized it and channeled it. She would always tell him to do things after school, like, go do this and go do that, and Adrian would ran to the point where he started getting involved in athletics, which led him to get involved with wrestling and track, which he's carried over into riding bikes and some of the other amazing things he's doing. But the question came from our audience to how do you help a kid that has that? And I think Johnell, you're a perfect guest for this today. And how do you train? The Bible says we should train up a child in the way they should go, and that means that you should keep their bend in mind. If you see a child that has, I think, excessive energy, I think you've got to be able to realize as a parent or maybe a ministry leader that you need to be able to handle that in a special way. My wife, who's in education, says sometimes she's just got to get her kids to get the energy out. And she'll recognize it, and like this, we're not getting going another step further till we do some jumping jacks or something. Yeah. Last year when they were online, I saw her do it at home a lot. She had a PE class before she started some of her lessons, because the kids are at home, they got to get their energy out.
Yeah. For myself, I have youngsters, so of course a lot of energy. But I have we're an athletic house, to be honest.
Yes.
And to get energy out before bed with our kids in the little preschool age, we all of our kids are fans of Sonic. They all want to run faster than the other kid, right? So before bedtime, it's grab our phone, Spotify. They want to play the Sonic song, and it's just them running back and forth around the house, all over the place, just running their energy out. They'll really know that's the only way. Like, they sleep well because of that. But it's because we know no matter how much we run them a little extra run at the end of the night, they're going to run themselves out, because they have all this extra energy that we can never match it, but we can do little things like that with them to get that extra energy out. And I want to point out my mom for something, because she taught me something that I had in my childhood and was able to help me use it. Because back in my childhood, I was able to exaggerate a story like no other, right? Of course, you could use that in the wrong way. I had plenty of ways to use it in the wrong way, faking sick to school and all that stuff. But she encouraged me to write books. And I would use that imagination and write books and write stories. And I'm telling you, some of the very things that I wrote in that little young writing book stage, I use that in sermons now, like some of the methods that I learned back
even poems then. This guy writes amazing poems. If you haven't heard it, you got to go back to the previous episodes.
My mom, to get me to stop lying and embellishing about stuff, she's like, hey, why don't you write down what really happened and make it better, make it exciting? So I would take true stories and just make them exciting. And looking back, I'm like, wow, God had been working a long time, because
ago.
now what I'm doing is taking Bible stories and drawing them out and making them
Yes.
interesting for the youth.
It's what you're doing as a
Crazy.
career now.
It's blew my mind. So I had to give kudos to my mom. She did something with my abilities.
What's your mom's name?
Linda Greer.
Linda Greer. Good job, Linda.
Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
What I've learned is to get them to like experiment with everything from athletics to even cameras and stuff. My daughter, she wants to tell stories through camera and
Artistic.
Like, like Jay too. Like she has written a book. It's on my laptop. It's about a dog, right? You know what I mean? So she focuses her energy on that. And my son, he's more on athletic. Football and training, he'll zero his energy into like lifting and the agility training. But without that, though, they're like a horrible mess at the house, just arguing, fighting, not understanding why. But them being involved in the things that they like, getting that energy out, like helps them at the home and keeps me and the wife happy.
Well,
You know.
well, I think you have to see those talents. I never forget
Yeah.
when my daughter Tessa wanted to start playing drums, and she started playing drums at a really young age, like 5 or 6. We got her drum set, and she actually went on to play in high school and junior high.
When I joined ministry, the first ministry I joined, junior high, Tessa was the drummer.
Isn't it crazy? Because she's quit playing drums, and I kind of was like, Tessa, every band wants a girl drummer, but she quit playing drums. But I remember her first set of drums, we put them in her room because, you know, we thought it would be better in there. But my neighbor about a week later goes, hey, Tessa got some drums. And I was like, oh, her room's next to their room. So I pulled them out of my Tessa's rooms and put it in my office.
Yes.
Where she could just drum away.
Yeah, your neighborhood knows if
Yes.
a kid got
She-
drums.
yeah, they did. So hopefully you can find something if you're out there and you're looking for something for your kids to do, or even channel them. I've shared the story about my daughter Taylor, who just was excellent in volleyball, and through some circumstances she got cut from the high school volleyball team. And I saw that really just take her down. But we didn't stay down because we went into something new, and it was tennis. And she went on to win 3 Valley championships and inspire my daughter to do it. And Taylor went on to play 4 years of college tennis, and she made a living on her racket up until just, a couple weeks ago. And she's into another profession now. But you got to find something, and if it doesn't work out, you got to try to find something else. You just don't give up.
Yes, don't let them waste that energy. Keep encouraging them to put it in something that they are passionate about, and it will work in the end. It really will.
Yep. So we're on to Kicks for Kids, and Johnell, I think you've got a question, and I think
I 100% have a question.
Yes,
We always
Justin.
do this. We know so much about Johnell. We all talk to him basically every day. So it should be hard for you to answer this, but you have something exciting coming up. We want to know what's new in the life of Johnell, and more importantly, today we're interviewing Kicks for Kids more so than Johnell.
Yes.
So what's new with Kicks for Kids?
So what's new with Kicks for Kids is we do have an upcoming event at Elk Hill School.
Yes.
Partnering with them and encourage
Courage.
and it's a trunk or treat, but we get to come out there and just hang out with kids and give away some shoes, and it's a little bit different than we have done any event we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Like, never been involved with a trunk or treat, so this is different, but the atmosphere from just visiting that campus was perfect. It's
I've heard, and I think we're going to hear from the superintendent of Elk Hill School about the impact that you did have a little later in our show. So that's a little bit of baiting on you guys. Hang around, because we got a shout out to Kick for Kids from a superintendent.
It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think Johnell, and I think you could tell the audience, because as we go into talking about Kicks for Kids, we're going to talk about where it started from, but this is something that I think you could probably say was unlikely if you look back 10 years ago in your life.
Oh, never would have saw this at all. Completely.
Your mind wasn't even in the same stratosphere, was it?
No, it was completely not in this arena at all.
It was probably thinking about creating havoc versus creating a great
bit.
environment. Yeah.
A little bit promoting the negative instead of the positive
I
that
like
we're
that.
doing right now. Still leading the youth, but leading the youth in a very different wrong way.
Isn't that amazing? What you just said is it's a moment that we can stop and say, it doesn't matter about your past, where it took you.
Yeah.
It's about where your future can go.
Yeah. We tell that to a lot of the kids because they're in some really horrible situations. So Kickstarter Kids, our population that we get to serve is foster youth.
Yep.
And to the single home, impoverished, like just doing bad type of kids.
Because as I think we have your kind of, maybe, I think it's your mission statement. You guys have that picture? You can bring it up and you can kind of talk about it.
Yeah, it's
there it is.
We came up with this mission statement just on the sole purpose. What the shoe does is it's an open conversation to actually instill confidence. Like J2 was saying, it looks like a materialistic thing, but
It's not.
it's not.
So
it opens
far.
up the door. On the surface, it builds their confidence for a certain time. But when that conversation starts to build, we get to really build them up from the inside out. They become self-aware and like understanding like their present right now doesn't have to dictate their future.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's important to know. That means even our audiences out there, wherever you're at in your career or your walk, it can change around, Johnell, right?
Yeah.
You're living proof of that, right?
Completely. I am the kid we serve.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
Destined to be prison or in the cemetery by now. Kind of defeated the odds, and now I get to go back and tell kids like it's
Yeah.
possible.
When you think about that, isn't that an aha moment or a when you think about the person we're sitting by right now, which some of us didn't know 7, 8 years ago, and now he's so integral in our life.
Yeah.
You know, could have made decisions who had put you in incarceration before,
Yeah.
or could have put you in the grave. And I think we have a God story moment. We're talking about that on another show
Yeah.
called God Stories.
Yeah.
You know, how you had a moment. So, Johnell, tell us about, and I love it because J2 and I got to share some of this walk.
Yes.
But sometimes their inspiration, J2, can come in those just quiet moments. Maybe in a dark moment, there may be a small voice that whispers inspiration into your life. Johnell, you know, when did you first get this idea?
About 5 years ago, it was a dream, actually.
Oh, wow.
It was a dream, keep reoccurring. I thought I was losing my mind.
Did you?
My wife, I was waking up, I can say 3:03 every night.
303.
3:03.
The same time.
Same
Now, I've
time.
never heard this, J2.
Yeah.
Every time. Waking up and I started waking up my wife like about 2 months in, like I'm going crazy. Like, I don't know what this is, right? I kept on having the same dream reoccur. Me standing in front of a whole bunch of kids, their families, handing out shoes, and there's food and just like all type of colors, right? And I'm like, I'm not sure what this is.
Your mind wasn't putting it together, was it?
It wasn't.
So how many? So it's 3 times you had it. So how did you finally put that together? Because I'm tracking in my mind right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colors of shoes. We saw food.
Yeah.
So watching that video is kind of surreal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's exactly what's crazy.
Yes.
It's exactly what he told me years ago. Like I see it happening now, but I remember when he first told me, I was thinking small scale. He told me, and I go, yeah, we can get a small room. We can get 36. We can get this. And he goes, I saw it was bigger, and I go, oh, well, I'm gonna shut up and let you keep working because I'm trying to box this dream in, and that's when we had to just keep flowing.
Is it that sometimes, and I think this is a point for our audience, where when you hear something, and I've shared this from the pulpit before, you got to watch who you tell your hopes and dreams to.
Yes.
Because some people can kill. You didn't kill his dream, but you just backed
Yeah,
away.
if it wasn't for the Lord, I had to get myself out the way because I caught it in myself thinking small, and I went, oh. God's giving him something way bigger than what I could think of for him. And that's why I had to back up and just support.
Sometimes we might come into that point where you want to do something, but it might interfere with the vision or the direction of a
Yes.
dream like that. And I always tell people you need to have people in your life you can share that with, but you also have to be careful with that.
You do. Like he said too, and he gave me space. Even you gave me space. You did tell me that this dream was too big, and God has to be in it. And I was like, oh,
So,
okay.
so I remember when you called. I remember when you called me, but you placed another phone call right first.
I called Pastor
So
Ron.
set
first.
us up. So a lot of people, there again, we love Pastor Ron. He's our church leader.
Yes.
But sometimes there could be this moment that is intimidating.
Yes,
is that
I was
what you're-
terrified.
For sure.
I was terrified. I'm fairly new
Uh-huh.
right, to the church, but me and Pastor Ron know each other, and I was about to have a conversation that he's not ready for it coming from me.
Uh-huh.
I'm terrified because I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm thinking of going crazy. I don't know what's going on, but I tell him the dream, and he tell me similar things that you said, like, this is God, this is big, we will support you. He said, but hold on, let me make a phone call. And he gave me encouraging words and it's words that I've used. I don't think he even remembered this. He said, do not let anyone stop you. No matter what, like, there will be things, like he said, that boxing in and stuff. So it's like, once you have that dream and it's like something you need to accomplish, you have to.
What would you tell our audience if that was they're coming to you with that? What would you tell them?
I would tell them the same thing. Do not allow anyone to stop or kill your dream. To understand, going after your dream sometimes sets you up where you're going to lose some people, but you're going to gain the right people. And to understand who those people are when they're in the beginning, and take them along with you on the journey, and see what you guys can actually do and how you're going to change the community, the world, or just even your household.
And I have a whole different standpoint of Kicks for Kids, because I was so used to leading, and this one, God said, you are in the back seat, you are with him, you are here to support, and it's been one of my funnest roles in ministry, because he knows what I am in this ministry is, Johnell, what you need help with, and then I'll go help with it. As simple as that.
Well, I love this podcast because you and I had a close relationship with John, because the next phone call.
Was to you.
Yes, was to me. And as Johnell called me, and this is something I get a lot of times at the church. And people will come with me. And I remember when Johnell, you were talking to me, I was like, "This is big, but this is God's in this." I think I told you that. And then we joined together for a year.
Yes.
And I kind of helped you kind of maneuver around. But I told you after a year, I'd back away, and you needed to find somebody else. And when you found J2, I was like, right on.
Yeah, it just happened.
Well, it does, and I think this is where people can make a mistake, or you can have something as success. You have to recognize your role in other people's dreams or their ideas. People come to me all the time, and there's a lot of people that I'm in their life for a long season, sometimes a short season, and sometimes you're in and out different roles. You have to know that, because I knew Johnell was on to something, but I also knew that I only could go so far with it. I could get. I think my role was to help you maneuver in and out of our ministry, and teach you, some of the relationships that you could have and navigate through. But I knew once the dream had to happen, it went through somebody else, and it was J2. So I think as you're out there, don't always feel that you have to be the person that answers it all.
I got something for that too, because we tell our kids, like, partnerships and things of that nature, that, like you say, it was a year, but if you would stay longer than a year, could have been in a way.
I could have gotten your way.
Some of the creativity that has came after that. Like, you showed me how to negotiate, to talk, be confident in what you fear. The first conversation, this is bigger than you, it's God.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. You know what I mean?
How do we do that? I think it's baby steps.
Yeah.
And I think as you're out there, and I think this goes along with people in parenting too. Sometimes people are there to try to solve everything for their kids, and I think that's sometimes not our role.
Yeah.
How many times have we had, or you had as the audience out there, been involved with something, and it was the being involved with something that changed you.
Yes.
Gave you the thing that you needed to know, or that, because we think back on a lot of those things. So as you're out there, just think about that sometimes. There again, I've got a great relationship with my kids now, and they're both adults. And they used to have a word, doing adulting, but they are both doing adulting. And now I'm just kind of on the sideline as a coach, and they'll call me up once in a while and go, "Dad, what do you think?" And then I'll ask them, "Are you sure you want to know what I think?" But it's a different role.
Yes.
So Johnell, you had the dream, and then we called, and then J2 a year later. Tell us a little bit about, the the process that you go through. And I like this first picture. I like this first picture that we have because it's of Johnell, and it's a bunch of shoes because it's kind of the sea of it's a sea of color, and it's there. And you said something specifically happened.
Yeah.
Around this picture.
Around this picture, this is in the Nike parking lot, and we have a long relationship with them. But the employee, one of the employees were new, and they haven't experienced something like this. He was like, "Aren't you going to resell these shoes and all this stuff?" And he was like just going crazy that we were just buying all these shoes to give away, and the quality of the shoe that we're buying, and that how when we came into the store, how we even affect like the manager and the whole team. Like he said, everyone's just upbeat now, and they bought in.
Yes.
This guy actually attends a couple services.
The guy who was questioning almost your motives.
Yeah.
Oh,
we get it every time.
Oh, for sure. You're selling these on eBay. Because, tell the audience, John, I mean, this just aren't just a shoe.
No, we go back to from retro Jordans, any style retro Jordan to like the hottest new shoe that comes out, like
LeBron's, Kyrie, all the profile
Blazers,
athletes,
dunks,
because you ask the kids what is your dream shoe, right?
We ask them what their dream shoe is, and we kind of give them this incentive to work harder. So all of our kids are students, right? So and I push education, tough, right? Self-education,
and it's not because you have a high education.
No.
I mean, you see the value of it and what you can pass on to other kids, saying, "Don't give up on it. There's value on it."
I see how education can open up doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
That can be open, or that you will have to be invited in otherwise.
Yeah.
So we tell them, hey, if you get honor roll, principal list, whatever the highest award is at that school, because they name it different anywhere else. You can tell us the shoe you want, your dream shoe. I'm going to make sure I'm trying my hardest to get exactly that shoe or something close to that standard.
Yeah.
And we have seen kids that were failing, like
F's and D's,
turn around and they're honor roll students.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. And these are the bad kids too, right? That most people would, there's no getting around it.
Well, it's people you would go, there's no way, you would think there's no way this kid's going to get straight A's or A's and B's. And then they just needed motivation. That's all they needed.
Everybody's motivated by something, right?
Yes.
And I think our audience is full of people that are motivated by something. And I do believe that motivation comes from knowing the Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's purpose. I'm a very optimistic person, and I believe Christian lifestyle or the Bible is the most optimistic book that's ever been written, because your past doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Only your future matters, and what are you going to do? And you partnership with the Lord. There again, I always tell people, partnership with the Lord, and then you partnership with people. That's the cross.
Yes.
And that's what you do too. Show the next picture, because you do bring other people along with you.
Yeah. So this young man, Braden, has grown on me. He's like a little brother now. And he's a football player, BC. He's seen the impact that Kicks for Kids is having and what it had on him. And
because he was one of your kids in the program, right?
Not exactly, kind of.
Okay.
Right? He came in a little bit older.
Yeah.
But been mentoring him still nonetheless. He's a college student. And he saw the impact from the first shoe event he went to. He's been involved with it ever since. Comes back, helps us with all our football programs and the camps. But in this picture, I asked him, hey, would you like to come up with me and drop off these shoes? This is a foster agency parking lot we're dropping these shoes off to. And we're talking all the way there. We're talking football. And he's been having a struggle like a lot of us do, right? And
everybody's got struggles, they're honestly. And
we got to be direct. Like, maybe you just need to make that shift, right? Like the Bible says.
Stop doing this and start doing that. Yes.
Right? And hit them with the biggest question is like, what if, right? It can be terrifying, but what if life could be better, right? If you just do it this way.
Yeah.
And
why not, right?
Why not?
Why not? In our audience, whatever you're dealing with, why not if you're in a bad circumstance, why not change that circumstance?
Yes. What comes to mind is be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
When you allow God to come in and change the way you think, your thought process, and make it His. Make it His thought process. The possibilities are endless. Me and Johnell just killed it in the junior high because he's not, for one, he's not just doing Kicks for Kids. He's doing
He's
much
doing
more.
junior high over the Northwest campus.
Something stood out in what he said. He was telling them that God can just take it. God can imagine if you walk like God is with you. And that's what I feel like he does with Kicks for Kids. He walks into these business. We were literally just talking about this.
Yeah.
He walks into these business meetings with people with millions of dollars, and and he walks in there probably younger than everyone in the room by 30 years, and presents to these people. And I go, you would shut down and just curl into a ball and cry if you didn't know you were walking in with the Lord and with purpose and with power. And he walks in, gives his presentation, and befriends all these people. In the long run, they become donors because they see what Kicks for Kids does and they react to it. And that's what I've loved about it, because I get to see the behind the scenes, and we've had drawback from churches, from businesses on why are you spending $150 on that shoe, on one shoe? You can give 4 kids shoes, but the impact's not the same.
Yes.
And once these people, the coolest thing that I've seen him do is he goes, just come to the event.
Yeah.
Just come to the event, because then when the donors come, they see it. They never again do they have a problem with how much we spend on the shoe. Never again.
They never question the
Never
motive.
again. All they have to do is come. They come and they go, oh, we'll be here next year.
Yeah.
I love that.
What's next?
I love that. That's our TikTok moment.
Yeah. It's so
That's
so
right there
good.
it is.
Yeah.
That is it. So Johnell, so you bring others along with you. I love that, because I think that is where life meets the road. When God can do something with you, and then you're able to bring somebody else into it.
Alongside.
So you have a young man that you impacted.
With that, bringing people in, it's something I didn't have, right? I didn't have family.
Yes.
So the big value that we put emphasis is on is becoming family.
Yeah.
Re-engineering it from there. Each kid, this relationship with Braden, the relationship with some of the young men I'm involved with. Joel is one of our man.
Give the Joel story first. Joel knucklehead, by the way. He's getting it together now, though. I'm proud of the kid.
Oh my God.
But crazy.
This kid is amazing. I looked at him now. He's like another son. He calls me.
Isn't that great when you can have a spiritual experience where there's kids are as close to you as sons?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I look at Mike Harvey and Seth Parker over there, and even you, Jay, too. And I get to be around you, Johnell, but I've been in these guys' lives for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have sons. I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm Danny, my daughter's fiance, is going to be a great son-in-law, and I'll get another one, Taylor. But you guys have been part of my
100%.
my whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So tell us about him.
So Joel, after I think it's the second event, some of the boys I mentor come over, we'll play Madden or we'll work out. Most of my boys at that time were football or baseball. So we're working out, but we're playing Madden this time. I can see something's bothering this kid, and life was kind of hard. He has a lot of love in his life, but there's a lot of abandonment and things of that nature. But we're playing Madden, and I'm beating. I'm talking smack too, right?
That's probably
We've been there, right?
right. I've played him in Madden. I think this part of the story is a lie, but
This is
we'll
not
continue
embellishing. This is this is a kid. I was killing this kid, and but he hit me around like second quarter with He said, "Do you have any extra shoes?" And we just did the event. I said, "Yeah, we have some shoes extra." He said, "I would like to give my neighbors' kids some shoes. I never see them with new shoes. You give me shoes, I would like to give my neighbors some shoes." I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah."
It's rubbing off.
It's rubbing off. That's not even the tricky part, because he said, "Hi." I said, "How many kids?" He said, "It's 4. I have only 4 boxes at my house. No, 6.
Yeah.
But I have 6 boxes at my house." And he says, I said, "Well, we're going to take these and see if these fit." He said, "They're not going to fit. We're going to have to go get the shoes." I said, "Look, let's see what God's trying to tell you right now."
Ooh, it's like kind of like a God moment.
Yeah,
Like-
it was sick.
Yes.
Right? And I said, "Let's go." I said, "You're going to lead. I'm going to tell them who I am, but you're going to lead the conversation. You're going to tell them why I'm here, that you brought me, and that you want to bless these kids," right? So we're going over there. He's going through the spiel. You can tell he's nervous. He's clenching, right?
Yeah.
And he's telling this story. The kids come out, and I said, "All right, what size shoe you wear?" The first kid, I think he said 4Y. I said, "Oh, we have a 4Y. It's a boy color." It was the SpongeBob Kyrie's.
Oh,
right?
man.
Yeah, limited edition too right now, right? He puts them on, fit. He looks
and
at me.
and it's a limited edition.
Yeah. And he looks at me.
You're not going to be able to buy this shoe unless you can.
No, you
spend
No, you
$5.
can go get it
And-
now for like $2 something, right?
No, you can't even find those shoes right now.
Oh, I'm talking resale.
Oh, yeah.
That's
you
the
can
only
get,
way.
Oh, yeah. You can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The first shoe fits. The next kid comes, says the shoe fit. He's looking now at me like, what's going on?
It's one of those mic drop moments you ain't
Yeah.
got to say
That-
another
I
word.
don't have nothing to do with it. It's all God, right? Every shoe, we had each shoe for this kid. And these are leftover shoes. And he's just sounding like,
How's this happening,
how
right?
is this happening?
Yes.
And it's not that you had a FYI to go out and get these, or
No.
like you had 30 shoes.
And it changed him. From there, he took everything I said more serious, and he buckled down. He changed his grades around. He's on the football
Good
team
kid.
now.
He is a good
He-
kid.
Yeah, he is. He has his little moments, but he's overall, I can be more proud of him.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think it might be a good time to get a video,
shot.
kind of a proof text to this. We have a video that was called in this morning from somebody.
And I just want to share my personal experience with. Hi, my name is Tiffany Touchstone, and I'm the superintendent and principal out at Elk Hills School District. And I just want to share my personal experience with Kicks for Kids. So Johnell came out to visit our school a couple weeks ago because we are planning an event on October 29th. We're pairing it with our annual trunk or treat and costume parade that we're having at the school, which has been a tradition for years. And Johnell will be out here with Kicks for Kids, handing out shoes to our kids. So he came out to see the grounds, and it was kind of funny because the first thing one of the middle school boys asked me was, is he a football player? So I thought that was cute. But anyway, they naturally gravitated to Johnell. So he just has that charisma and personality for students. I think especially we were out there with middle school kids, and they just really took to him. So anyway, as the tour went on and he, met our staff and walked around, he had a pair of Air Jordans. And I wasn't in the cafeteria when this took place, but there was one student selected to get this pair of shoes. And I know he has a backstory to this as well. And so I couldn't have thought of a more grateful, deserving student that got these shoes. The way it worked out, it was just crazy. He was so proud of these shoes that he took them off and put them back in the box, and he said, I don't want anyone touching them. They are going to stay neat and clean. And he still won't even wear them to school on a regular day. He said they're for special occasions. So he's so excited. From there, this kid was just the talk of the school for the week. Especially amongst the middle school students and the boys. When they would run into me or our community coordinator, they kept asking, what can we do to get a pair of those? And, I told them about the event, and we're processing that paperwork. I said, you can upgrade your shoes from Kicks for Kids by getting good grades and making honor rolls. So they are already so excited and working towards getting their grades up so that they can participate and not just get a pair of shoes, which they're going to get on the 29th, but to then prove that they can do well in school and upgrade them to a nicer pair.
Yep.
So it has just sparked a bunch of excitement, and I think the 29th will even make it more of a school-wide event and just spread like wildfire through here. So we're very excited for what Johnell brings and his organization. So shout out to Kicks for Kids.
Sweet.
Hey, I got to meet that girl.
Yeah. I heard Pastor Tom has a thing for that superintendent over there.
Oh, man.
She's looking hot.
Is his wife, everybody, before we get canceled.
Thank you for bringing bringing it in. People joined in before, after she announced her name.
Yeah, let me see.
Maybe that's the TikTok moment.
That's too good. That's too funny. That's good. But
good stuff.
I love firsthand because that's kind of the experience we were talking about, right? Like once someone gets to see it, they go, "Oh, they're all in." You're bought in because you see the transformation that it can bring a kid. And the best Kicks for Kids is not just transforming kids with shoes; it's introducing them to Christ. It's introducing them to so much more. We don't. I feel like we don't push church on the kids.
No.
But since who we are, and that's right, because
It doesn't matter because it's who you are.
It's who
when
who
they
we
meet
are.
Johnell, meet
they,
J2.
Where are you going on Sunday? And all the mentors, like, what are the mentors doing on Sunday? They're going to church. So if the kids want to go to church, they can. But if not, separate from the program, you don't have to. Like, you can be in the program without it. But you're going to naturally start going to church because that's where all your leaders and mentors are going. So it is like you can just see God's thumbprint all over it.
And I don't put an emphasis on like the draw for like the adults. I go in there looking at the kid. Like I'm focused on the kid because this is who needs my attention.
Yep.
Regardless of who buys. Like I know my responsibility to this is this child. To impact this child, then through this child, I got to impact their biggest influence, which is mom, dad, uncle, grandma. To be able to make whatever we're trying to teach stick, I got to make it stick in them.
Well, I think the byproducts, like my wife. I mean, I knew you were going out there. My wife came home and she asked me, Tom, how did Johnell know who to give this school the shoe to? And I go, oh, I think I know the answer, but I'll ask him. And when I saw you, I asked you, I go, my wife said this is one of the biggest impacts that she's seen. And how did you choose a kid? And you told me.
Oh, it's random.
But it was.
I had an extra pair of shoes in the truck. I was walking, talking to this kid. I saw the kid. I seen he was kind of standoffish. He didn't have that many kids around him. Walked up to him, asked him his name. I'm not sure if I could say that, but he told me his name. I was like, "What size shoe you wear?" And he was like, "Size 8." I said, "You want a pair of shoes?" We went to the truck, came back. He put them on. His smile went.
What did the community coordinator out there tell you?
He said, she said that he was one of like rougher kids, not like bad, but just socially wasn't getting accepted. He's a rock star, like he's one of the most popular kids in school now. Like the confidence boosters
the kid that
there.
got the J's.
He's the kid with the J's.
It's the thing that you have started this ministry around. I think we have a principal certificate too that you have on your.
There's a list. There's a list of these of kids who didn't even know honorable and principal list was like a thing that they could accomplish, and then come back showing them. There's a little film we did on one of the families where all the young girls got all of them. The whole family ended up on honorable principals list. The whole family of girls. It was amazing.
And there again, it goes back to a dream at 3:03 in the morning for 3 times, right?
A few months.
Yeah.
Thinking he was crazy.
I still do.
I thought you were crazy, man. I didn't. Like all I knew was to stand behind you. I'm like, this dream is big. It's so much bigger than us.
Yes.
And then once we accepted that, though, and just went, all right, God's gonna have to do it. So now we don't panic on when it's bigger than us. It's like, all right, that's cool. God got it.
It helps in all other areas of life. I've learned personally, like worry. Like, you don't need anyone else to kill your dreams. You can kill your own dreams yourself. Worrying, picking it apart, what could go wrong, and I learned through this endurance, like, if God's really with you, there's really nothing that can stop anything.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah.
You know?
The Bible does say that with men, it's impossible. With God, all things are possible. What would you like to leave our audience with? Because I'm going to leave them with a thought that our Pastor Ron and I talked about this morning.
I would like to leave the audience with something that I'm not taking for granted no more. That I understand. I know the people who are closely watching me, but I understand now there's people outside of that are watching, not interacting, but just watching, and what it can do to just them, those ripple effects.
Mm-hmm.
Understand those ripple effects turn into, man, to great lives and
Yes.
stories that will be impacted because they see you walking with integrity. They see you walking in your purpose, and you're not allowing nothing to stop. Like those, it's mind blowing to see the outside what everything is doing. Like I didn't know it was going to impact your wife the way it did.
I know.
Or that whole school. I wasn't even paying attention to
My wife came home. My wife came home. I was like, Tom, this is the most sensational thing that's happened. And my wife's running a school and things like that. But she said there was a moment that happened today, and it happened through this pair of shoes.
Yeah.
And so my wife's like, I'm in. I saw it. But it's like you guys say, that you people come in. And you know what? I do believe that people do genuinely want to try and help.
Yeah.
And I sometimes people can't or don't, but they can support you.
Yes.
And then as you're able to make a difference, they're sharing in that difference that you are
definitely.
making.
Yes.
Yeah, you're partnering with us financially, becoming a mentor, all that.
Yeah.
Like
You may have a relationship with somebody with shoes. So as I was talking to Pastor Ron this morning, and now as we have our show Lunch Break, we have a new show that our Encourage Media is going to drop, which is called God Stories. Pastor Ron and I are talking about another show that we want to start, but we're wanting to start it with something with an in-person audience, and we're saying that we want to let everybody know that if they're supporting Encourage monetarily, that we're supporting you, and also Peter Nails' African ministry for orphans and schools and just things like that, and also you. So we're taking our media production out, and we're actually getting people to participate with us and being able to be around guys like you and Peter Nalos, who we had on last week, catch that show and just kind of get through the audio stuff. But these are things that we want to do, and we see a bigger purpose in doing it through just internet shows.
Yes, yes. There's a big vision with Encourage Media as well, and pouring into it. We see all these wonderful organizations that we get to interview the heads of, and we have the connection, and you guys are the connection to help us support. So when we start monetizing these things, you're supporting so much more than some talk shows.
Yes,
you're supporting ministries.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be cool to be able to partner more. We need it, but we need you guys. You guys are a part of that.
And this whole idea was a whole idea of our founder here at Encourage Media, Josh Vietti.
Yes.
Yeah. Want to thank Josh. Want to thank Seth Parker, our on-site producer, and our on-site director, Mike Harvey. You heard from them tonight. And Taylor and Tessa Touchstone, that are creative directors and consultants. So if you want to get a hold of me, Pastor Tom at vbf.org.
Jay Greer at vbf.org.
Johnell Ward and 99gmail.com.
There we go.
Great. So you guys, I'm so glad you joined us today. Have a great
This
day
was
and
lunch
weekend.
break. Red Bull, we're waiting.
We're waiting.
Okay, try this out.